The planet on the right side, we all know him, is the moon. The moon is a very sad planet, as you can see, because the moon doesn't create its own magnetic field. And this is how a planet looks when it has no electromagnetic energy. Nothing is growing, nothing is happening, no interaction. You know why I love this picture? Because I always see this analogy to a human cell. This is a cancer cell and this is a healthy cell. It pictures exactly what we talk about. This cell is dead, it cannot do anything. It doesn't provide an environment to produce something, to create something. Whereas our planet provides the environment to live itself and to provide life for us. So that's very important. Our planet has its own magnetic field. Did you hear about that? The Earth magnetic field? And you can see this on this little animation. What you see here, these blue lines, or this blue field with the white lines, this is the magnetic field of the Earth against the sun. So the sun is coming from here, shining here, sending out these particles, high energetic particles, and it forces the magnetic field of the Earth towards the other end. That's why it looks like a little bit like a tail here. If the electromagnetic atmosphere would be not around us, the sunstorms would hit the surface directly and we would never be able to live here because nothing would grow, everything would be hot, no chance. So actually the Earth magnetic field protects us from the sunstorms, and in the same time, what's pretty cool, the Earth magnetic field creates its own frequencies and creates its own interactions with the atmosphere, the so-called ionosphere. Maybe you heard about the Schumann resonances. Did you ever hear this word? Schumann resonances. 7.83 Hertz. And he figured out that the ionosphere, which is the distance from the surface of the planet Earth until the outer space, where there is no gravity, no oxygen anymore, exactly within that space, there is a prevailing, very consistent frequency, 7.83 Hertz, caused by the Earth magnetic field. The Earth magnetic field, by the way, ranges between 11.75 and 11.79 Hertz. So all very low frequencies. And this Schumann frequency is consistent. Can you imagine? You see, our system is so tinily connected. And the Schumann resonances are also called by the weather, by the lightning strikes and the spherics. It's all science. You can read about it. There are studies for this. I'm not talking, okay? So everything is literally connected on a very, very narrow level. And the whole system only works if all these resonance properties and frequencies are in place. And all these frequencies are natural frequencies. The frequency of the Earth magnetic field was always there. The Schumann resonance is always there. And we learned in physics, maybe you remember, if two frequencies meet each other, what do they create? Additional frequencies. So-called harmonics or overwaves. So you can probably imagine that when all these natural frequencies meet each other, they literally create an orchestra of a symphony of frequencies, which, again, are surrounding us. And which all, and that's interesting, are all in the range between more or less 0.5 to 25 Hertz. 0.5 to 25 cycles per second. A very important number to remember, because if you look at the exposed frequency, for example, of a smartphone, 800 to 1900 megahertz. You know what mega means? A lot. 1 megahertz is 1 million hertz. So that's 1 million cycles per second. So the carrier frequency of a smartphone is between 800 and 1900 million cycles per second. That's a pretty high energy and is far out of the natural range. Who has a cordless home phone? Be honest. Thank you. If you look at the backside of your cordless home phone, you will find a number, because all these cordless home phones, more or less, they run with 2.75 gigahertz. 1 gigahertz is 1,000 megahertz. So maybe it happened to you already when you all talk with your best friend, which usually takes longer than 5 minutes or 50 minutes. At a certain point, did you ever observe yourself what happens? The ear becomes warm. Some people, they don't trigger this, but they even trigger that they get a headache. And this warming up the ear, this is an interaction between the high frequency and your blood that creates heat. And if you do this constantly, you probably trigger a lot of bad things in your head, because you are exposed to a very, very unnatural high frequency, which more or less creates very negative interactions with your tissue. The best and healthiest way to communicate is still face-to-face. That there is this joke, they say, what do you do at home when you want to gather a family meeting? You just have to turn off the Wi-Fi, and then everybody comes to the living room. So yeah. So face to face, or you use a cord phone. There is more or less no electromagnetic high energy exposure. And by the way, if you use your smartphone and you have longer talks, all the smartphones are coming with earphones. And they can be plugged into your smartphone, and they have also a microphone, so you can hear what the other person on the other end tells you, and you can also talk in this microphone. This is a by far more healthier way to use your smartphone for longer discussions. But the unhealthiest thing is to really keep it on the ear. Don't do this. And also for the man, don't carry your smartphone in your pocket during the whole day, because it's connected to your second brain. And if you do this consistently over a long period of time, you need these tiny little blue pills to show performance. And also don't put your mobile phone here in the breast pocket, because you are very closely connected to your heart and you create very unpleasant interactions. You know, if you do this over time, it's not good. Who is using the smartphone as an alarm clock? But what you should always do when you go to bed with your smartphone? Exactly, put it on airplane or on flight mode. Why? Because if you put it on flight mode, it's not connected to the Wi-Fi, it's not connected to your provider anymore. It is more or less dumb. And that also means there is no electromagnetic, or there is a little bit, but almost no electromagnetic intervention. Which is a good thing, because when you use your smartphone, usually as an alarm clock, you have it on your nightstand, which is very close to your brain when you sleep. So when you forget to put it on flight mode and you don't sleep well, then I can tell you where it's coming from. You know, this is exactly the source which creates such unpleasant nights. And I know people, they do this for years, not because they want to hurt themselves, it's just because they didn't know about this. So always put your phone on flight mode, and again, if you put this on in your daily routine, you will never forget it. It's a very good possibility to increase your health and to optimize your sleep. I tell you since 1 hour that electromagnetic fields are bad. And now I'm gonna tell you that electromagnetic fields can be good. Yes, they can. Whether an electromagnetic field is good or bad, that depends on the properties you expose. This is like in medicine, you know, snake poison can kill you or can heal you. It depends on the dose. And in energy medicine it's the same, you know. We have electromagnetic fields like laptops, like cordless phones, like smartphones. They will harm you. And on the other hand, we have electromagnetic fields. They can heal you. They can keep you healthy. They can initiate and maintain great things in your organism. And how they do this, I'm going to explain you also with this slide, and then you totally get it. Because we are programmed to understand and to learn all the so-called biochemical processes in our body. This is easy to understand for us because the whole education in medicine is based on that. You know, everything is biochemical. All the chemical processes, metabolism. There is coming all these minerals, nutrients. They go inside the cell. There are the mitochondria. They change this biochemical process into ATP. You know, it's not the tennis association. It's adenosine triphosphate. This is the stuff which we know as energy. So, but what most don't do that, and now remember this sentence, there is no chemistry without energy. It's very important. There is no chemistry without energy. Energy is a much more profound factor when it comes to initiate and maintain metabolism. Why? Because we didn't talk about these bubbles here. Those bubbles are so-called ions. Maybe you heard about ions because you have it in your smartphone, because you have a lithium-ion battery. All right? What do ions do? When you kick them in the butts, they start moving and they create an electric potential, which keeps your smartphone running. And the interesting thing is, when you charge the battery of your smartphone, actually what you physically do is you plug it into the wall, and then this plug creates a magnetic field, and those magnetic fields kicks the butts of the ion. They start moving within the lithium and create an electric current. And the lithium in this battery is able to store it. This is how this works. And our body works exactly the same, because we have about 75 trillion cells. And around all these 75 trillion cells, we have these ions. And these ions are responsible for a very, very, very important factor when it comes to metabolism, creating the membrane potential of the cell. When the membrane potential is not there, it cannot create permeability. If the permeability is not given, all the good stuff, the nutrients, the minerals, the oxygen, everything what we need in order to metabolize cannot be absorbed and changed into ATP. So the better the permeability, the better the membrane potential of the cell, the better the ability of the cell to create energy. And whenever you lie on one of these whole body mats here, which are built here, what happens is this system creates a pulsed electromagnetic field. And this pulsed electromagnetic field has the ability to penetrate through your body infinitely. It's a big, big advantage property of electromagnetic fields comparing, for example, to laser or to ultrasound. Laser and ultrasound has a very limited penetration depth. Electromagnetic fields, they go through entire material, like butter, nothing. So actually what you do is when you lie on one of these units, you expose your entire body, your 75 trillion cells, with an electromagnetic field, which attracts these ions, even if they are fatigued, because you don't exercise, because you don't get enough of the electromagnetic field of the Earth, because you live in the 50th level of a high-rise, because you never go outside, because inside it's nicer, and so on, because you are always surrounded by negative electromagnetic fields which counteract the movement of the ions. Whenever you lie on this, you immediately increase the movement of the ions, which creates a better membrane potential in your cell, and suddenly, bingo, the cell is much more permeable, can absorb everything what you eat in your food. And now imagine if you eat good food, and if you drink good liquid foods, and if you breathe enough oxygen, how good your metabolism will become. That's what PEMF does. Pulsed electromagnetic field therapy was never designed for a certain disease. It has a profound effect, probably the most profound of all known healing modalities. Equally, whenever you use it, on each of your 75 trillion cells. And this system doesn't care what your problem is. It just tries to improve membrane potential wherever necessary and wherever possible. And that creates all these nice stories from people. They say, I suffer 20 years from this, I have 15 years this, and then I use this for a week, and I cannot believe it. You know, and I hear these stories no matter where. The cool thing about health and disease is it has no language. It doesn't matter if you go to Asia, if you go to Europe, the problems are the same. And the possibilities to intervene are the same, because this is a uniform language, health and disease. So this creates these miracles. The system doesn't create a miracle. The system simply provides an electromagnetic field which has the frequency range and the intensity range and the ability for the body to resonate with it, to answer on this. And said, yeah, I understand this message, I take it over and go with it. This is all. But the rest is done by the body. And I believe in this fact that nobody can heal you, only the body can do it. But sometimes the body needs a kick in the butt, because it is not capable right now of initiate this process. And this technology helps you to do this. And if you use this on a consistent basis, like brushing your teeth, like doing your daily routines, then you will highly benefit, not only from turning disease into health, also from staying healthy, keeping all your systems on the highest possible level, and actually protect yourself from any kind of disease. Very profound, a very profound impact. And I would like to show you this video. It's a 2-minute video. I love it. It's so cool. Because this video will explain you the principle of resonance. And it's about metronomes. The musicians use that. They put 32 metronomes on a surface. And then they start kicking these metronomes randomly, all together. And then they start vibrating on this surface. And what you will experience is that all these 31 metronomes, which are kicked after the first one, they will, over time, start resonating with this. They go in sync without any external intervention. This is resonance. By the way, this is a good analogy for hydration. When your body is very well hydrated, then the capability of vibrating with the energy is better. Yeah, your cells are vibrating better. When you are dehydrated, there is lack of extracellular water, then the movement is also already blocked from the cells. Now you can see some of them already go along with him. And why I show you this? Because this is also one of these properties those PEMF devices have. Because they send out an information and the body is capable of resonating with this information, take it over and stick with it. In other words, when you use this system for 8 minutes, we know that the body deals with this energy for 4 to 6 hours. So the interesting thing is you need to do this only for 8 minutes in order to create an application for the next 4 to 6 hours. Because this is as long as this modality will create an effect in your body just by doing it for 8 minutes, and that's resonance. So let's take a look at it. And like in every audience, there is always this one skeptic. Can you see him? This is the guy who is asking for studies. Totally the opposite, you know? The good thing about resonance is there are too many others who are going to convince them to change the frequency. And that's what's going to happen now. You can see it. Just takes a little bit longer. And he lost. You can see that. And that goes on now and on. Now they tuned into the same frequency and they will never go out of sync anymore. No, they just tune, you know. Actually, we force the body to go in resonance with these external frequencies and stay with it. And that increases the membrane potential. By the way, you can also see this in a dark field microscopy. These are red blood cells. They are responsible for storing and transporting oxygen. When they have a lower membrane potential, what happens is that they lose already surface to absorb oxygen, and they start sticking together. This is the so-called rouleau effect. After only one application on a PEMF system, they look like this. You know, the membrane potential increases, suddenly they start to repel. Their surface increases to transport oxygen. You have a much more better oxygen supply within your entire system. This is actually a little test we did in our office. He has a device which is called GDV, maybe you heard about that. Who is in energy medicine about 20, 30 years ago, it was also called aura photograph, maybe you heard about that, or Kirlian photography. But actually it has nothing to do with esoteric, it's pretty much energy medicine, and it's 100% quantum physics because it's dealing with biophotons. However, he did just a random little trial. He asked some patients to come in. Here we have a subject, a female, age mid-40, feeling low energy before IMRS. He was just asking her, how do you feel? She felt a little bit low energy, and then he did a GDV measuring with her, and come out with some numbers here. The energy level, 28 joule, the balance, 79%. And then he put her 15 minutes on the IMRS, on the whole body mat, or on the Omnium 1, because the properties are the same from both systems, in intensity 100. That's a pretty high intensity for a whole body application, but still, don't worry, you will not harm. For 15 minutes, and then he was waiting 10 minutes, and he did the same measuring again. And this is what happened. The energy doubled, and the balance increased from 79 to 93% right away, measurable. One application, one, not a month, one. And then this is for the people who work also with chakras, because the system is also capable of measuring the chakras, and then you can see the alignment exactly with this woman before and after an IMRS session, after one. So this is pretty remarkable. It's not 100% aligned, but if you probably do this on a consistent basis for a couple applications, you will be able to align. And this is also another way how you can display energy balance, left and right side. Here the goal is to get all these single measurements towards this green circle. So the more they go apart from it, the less positive the result is. And you can see before and after, it looks much more balanced and much more balanced at least. So this is just to give you a little bit of an idea what you can really achieve with one single treatment. Not talking about what you can achieve if you do this on a consistent basis. It's just energy alignment on different organs. I hope it was a little bit of interesting, a little bit of an eye-opener for you. Gives you some excitement, some motivation to see health and disease not as something given or which is exciting the more you know about it. The more you know about health and disease, the easier for you to stay away from, because once you are in this vicious circle, driven from one place to another, this is actually not the correct approach. But like I said, education makes the difference. That's definitely what it is. And energy medicine is such an exciting faculty, and it's such an exciting topic. And you don't need to be a physician, you don't need to be an engineer, you don't need to be a doctor in order to understand that, because everything makes total sense. This is the cool thing about energy medicine. If you are interested to try this technology or to know more about this technology, ask questions, stay healthy, because healthy people have a lot of wishes, ill people have only one. Thanks for listening.